Hello there and welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Mike.
I'm Rainbow.
And our story this month, as you guys know, is the Friday Everything Changed.
Ooh.
It's all about a little school in the country where on this Friday, things could be changing, right?
Ooh, that's right.
Big changes.
This school is a pretty special place, and the story is also probably from a time very long ago when people didn't have running water in their homes or other buildings. So because of this, 2 students would be chosen every week to be in charge of getting the water from outside by using a water pump and carrying it in a bucket for about half a kilometer away at the local railway station.
That's right. This is back in the days when, boys would be the only ones to do certain things. Girls weren't allowed. Of course, that's changed a lot since then, right?
I think so, yeah.
When I was a kid, maybe the girls and the boys would do the same little jobs at school like this. But I do remember there were certain sports that only the boys would play.
What kind of
sports? And the girls wouldn't play. Well, I could think, for example, of rugby and ice hockey. These are 2 kind of rough sports where you're always hitting people all the time. When I was a little kid, the boys played those sports. But I know now that my niece, who's, younger than me, and she just finished high school, she played both rugby and ice hockey in her school. So it does show you that, even though this story comes from a long time ago, we still live in times when not too long ago, boys and girls were treated differently. But things have changed, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. So when these boys were old enough and strong enough and responsible enough, they could carry the water, and it also meant that they could have a lot of fun on their normal school day because they can leave class and then come back while everybody else is still studying.
Yeah, that's right. Let's check out day 2 of the article after we learn about our new vocabulary.
今天的文章来看，女生到底能不能跟男生一样在外面抬水回学校呢？我们先来看几个单字。第一个 silence， 安静、沉默是个名词。以前我跟妈妈吵架的时候，爸爸就会在一旁唱一句经典的歌，沉默是金。Silence is golden. Silence is golden. 沉默是金。第二个单字停顿 pause, 暂停是个名词。There's a pause in this sentence. There's a pause in this sentence. 这句子中间有个停顿，这个句子中间有一个停顿，所以不要一直读。第三个单字 precious, 宝贵、珍贵的是个形容词。在名著《Lord of the Rings》魔戒里面有一个怪物叫做 Gollum， 他每次拿到戒指在他的手上，他就会说 My precious, don't touch my precious ring. Don't touch my precious ring. 不要碰我珍贵的戒指。最后一个单字 softball, 垒球是个名词。Softball is a game similar to baseball. Softball is a game similar to baseball. 垒球是个跟棒球有相像的一个运动项目。好了，我们现在看完单词例句，一起来看课文吧。
Alma, my seatmate, raised her hand. Then she said, "Why can't girls go for the water too?"Everyone was so surprised that they sat in silence. After a long pause, Miss Ralston answered, "I'll think about that, and I'll let you know next Friday." Then school let out, and the trouble started. Explanation 1.
All right, so when we finished yesterday's story, the teacher was about to pick the 2 water boys for the next week. Remember, they were always water boys, never water girls.
Ooh, but this Friday, well, it's different from all the other Fridays that came before it because the first part of the story says Alma, my seatmate, raised her hand. So of course, Alma is a girl. 在这边加一个补充单词 seatmate, 就是坐在你旁边的人。one of the girls in the class has a question. Something for the teacher. What is she going to ask?
This is very interesting.
Yeah.
So back in the story it reads, then Alma said, why can't girls go for the water too? An excellent question, but also a question that maybe nobody had ever asked before today.
And we're sure that no one has asked because the story says everyone was so surprised that they sat in silence.
Yes, silence means without any sound. It's very quiet. No one says a thing or even makes a sound. There was silence. And it's kind of funny that sometimes it just takes one person to ask one question, and then all of a sudden, everyone else goes, yeah, why is that? They all just thought it was that way forever. No one ever really asked why it was always that way before.
Men go to work and women stay home and take care of the kids.
Why?
No idea.
Yeah, or women can work as nurses and men can join the army and be soldiers.
But why?
That's a good question.
See, sometimes it just takes one person to ask why, and everybody finds out maybe there isn't a good reason and we could probably change it.
That's right. And of course, now we know that women can go out and work and men can take care of the kids at home.
And men, of course, can be wonderful nurses in a hospital, and women can also be in the army, like in Israel. And they're super brave as well. But in many of these situations, the changes only happened after people asked the question, why? And why can't it be different?
Right. So clearly, this question of why it was only the boys who got to go and collect the water, well, this was a question that no one had ever really asked before. So, what happened?
Well, at first, nothing happened. Everyone was silent, and then we read, after a long pause, Ms. Ralston answered, I'll think about that and I'll let you know next Friday. So here, pause means stop, quiet, or taking a break. So Ms. Ralston pauses to think. Well, okay, I guess Ms. Ralston is a great teacher and she doesn't have a good answer right now. So she's just going to go home and think about it and get back to the students.
All right, well, I guess that's good. It was a tough and interesting question for her to answer right away, right? So it's not good enough to just say, why, Alma? Well, because that's just the way we've always done it.
She's a good teacher.
Yeah, that would not be a good answer to this good question from the student. So Miss Ralston, the teacher, she decided instead to take some time to think about it and come up with a good answer to this good question. Fair enough. But this didn't make everything in the class go back to normal right away.
No, not at all. As we reach the break, it says, then school let out and the trouble started. Uh-oh. Yeah, so people have heard the question, but they don't have an answer. Now, some people want to think about it, but others will just get very angry because someone asked a question. So, of course, the answer might be different from what they expect, right? So that's something that's a bit scary for people.
That's right. And sometimes people just get angry at that person because they asked the question. Why are you asking that? Why are you making trouble? They're afraid of change because change can be a frightening thing, especially for the people who aren't ready for this kind of change.
That's right.
All right, well, it's almost time for our break, but first, we need to learn more about the first grammar point in today's article.
大家好，我是 Daphne。今天的第一则文法是 School let out， 意思是学校放学了。Let out 是动词片语，意思是学校放学、放假。其中动词 let 三态同形。School let out 就是学校放学、放假，也可以说 schools out。相对的说法则是 schools in， 开始上课。我们来看个例句。
Now K-12 schools and universities let out for the summer. 现在幼稚园、国小、国中、高中、大学都在放暑假。句子当中的 K-12 K 是幼稚园 12就是从国小、国中、高中这12年咯。
All right, with that grammar point taken care of, that means it's break time now, and we will be back soon.
The boys didn't want to lose their precious job, so they made life difficult for Alma and the girls. They did many bad things, and they didn't let the girls play softball at recess.
Explanation 2.
So, the question has been asked. It's out in the open now. Alma, one of the girls in the class, she wants to know why it was only boys who got to go and collect water for the school.
And the student's teacher, Ms. Ralston, didn't have a good answer at that moment, so she said she would just think about it and respond to people next week.
That's right, she'll give them an answer next week. But just by asking this question, Alma has upset some of the male students. The boys are not happy. As we get back to the story we read, the boys didn't want to lose their precious job. Why? Well, because something precious is something that's valuable or really important to you. You put a lot of, importance on this thing, so if someone tries to hurt it or take it away from you, you're going to try to protect it in some way. The boys, they knew that it was a special privilege to get to leave the school, and they liked that it was only them who got to do this.
Right, so if the girls get to do it too, then the boys couldn't do it as often. So of course they're being very selfish, but sometimes that's what happens when people think that someone's taking something away which they believe belongs to them. Maybe that's not true, but that's how people think. 这边补充一个单字 privilege 特权特别待遇，男生们觉得去提水是他们应该要有的特权，所以他们不想要让女生做这个工作。
Yeah, people get upset if you try to take something away, or sometimes even if you ask them to share that
They're
thing
like, no.
with other people. So, what did the boys do? Well, nothing good is the simple answer to that. As it says, so they made life difficult for Alma and the girls.
Like bullying?
Yeah, well, they behaved like angry little boys and not like decent, young, and honorable men, the way they should have. It looks like we have another grammar point to check out here, so let's go and do that now.
第二则文法是 A makes life 加形容词加 for B， 意思是 A 使 B 的生活…… make 是及物动词，意思是使得，三态是 make, made, made。 Life 是名词，意思是生活， makes life 加形容词就是使得生活……后方再用介系词 for 对于引出生活改变的对象。我们来看一个例句。The internet makes life better for everyone. 网络使每个人都过上更好的生活。
So, the boys are having their special job taken away from them. Well, actually, it's not being taken away from them. They might just have to share this job with the girls in the class. This is only fair, right? But the boys, they're being selfish and they're acting like little children.
And also, like a bunch of little kids, they are behaving badly to show they're upset. So as it says in the last sentence, they did many bad things and they didn't let the girls play softball at recess. 在这边加一个补充单字，男生为了不要让自己失去提水的工作，做了一件非常不光荣的事情，这就是不让女生下课的时候跟他们一起打垒球。Decent 可以用来指正直的、正派的。Honorable 是 值得尊敬的，而 recess 就是代表课后休息时间。在美国学校 recess 可能是10分钟，它是一个可以快速打一场球赛的时间。
Geez, come on, boys. Even if you like playing softball very much, you still have to share and let the girls play with you. Yeah, we have this sport here, softball, one of our vocabulary words. It's a sport kind of like baseball, except the difference is with softball, the ball is bigger. You throw it a little more slowly underarm like this, and kids will often start to play softball before they go on to play baseball as they get bigger, because baseball's just a little more difficult for kids to play. Anyways, the boys need to behave, they need to show more kindness, and stop being such selfish little babies.
And I'm sure that along with not letting the girls play softball, the boys are probably doing some other mean things like teasing the girls, calling them names, pulling their hair, things like that.
Yeah, you're probably exactly right about that, Rainbow. But that's it for today. There is still one more day to go, remember? So we'll be hearing from the teacher tomorrow, hearing her answer to that question that Alma asked. So come on back to find out how this story of change finally ends. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
The Friday, everything changed. Alma, my seatmate, raised her hand. Then she said, "Why can't girls go for the water too?" Everyone was so surprised that they sat in silence. After a long pause, Miss Ralston answered, "I'll think about that, and I'll let you know next Friday." Then school let out, and the trouble started. The boys didn't want to lose their precious job, so they made life difficult for Alma and the girls. They did many bad things, and they didn't let the girls play softball at recess.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny， 又到我们1分钟的单元喽。那我们今天用1分钟的时间来复习单字还有造句练习，同学们您都准备好没？1分钟计时开始。第一个单词是安静、沉默，怎么说呢？叫做 silence。silence， 它的形容词是 silent， 就可以形容是安静的。OK，a dog's barking broke the silence， 一只狗狗的吠叫声划破了寂静。哦，那是狼。好，不管。第二个单字是停顿、暂停，这个字怎么说呢？叫做 pause。pause， 它可以当名词或当动词用，但我们需要用名词造句。They chatted for an hour without pause。他们聊天聊1个小时，中间完全都没有停顿，没有停下来。第三个单词是形容词，形容宝贵的、珍贵的，怎么说？叫做 precious。precious。The necklace was a gift from her aunt. It's precious to her。那条项链是她姑姑送给她的礼物，对她来说很珍贵。第四个单字呢是垒球。垒球怎么说？它是比较软的球，所以我们叫 softball。softball。Do you know the basic rules of softball？ 你知道垒球的基本规则吗？ The basic rules of softball。好，太好啦！我们在1分钟之内已经复习完单字，也知道那句咯。同学表现很棒诶，记得还是要多多复习哦。那我们下次见了，拜拜。
Every year in the beautiful Luye Highlands of Taidong, the Taiwan International Balloon Festival is held. This special event happens between June 30th and August 13th. There are a record 39 balloons this year. There are both traditional round balloons and fun-shaped balloons. Some look like cute animals, while others are popular cartoon characters. Visitors can get a fantastic view from high up in the air. Some nights there are light and laser concerts. Balloons are lit up to the beat of the music. At the festival, you can see Taidong in a whole new way.
See you next time!